Welcome. Welcome to a brand new week of this particular course. And in this course, we are going to learn about a very interesting topic and one of the most important aspect of data science as a curriculum, or rather any industry. Not just with data science, but it can be any domain, any type of career, anything. And that aspect is data visualization. Okay, just forget about the word data. Let's focus only on just one word, that is visualization. Okay, so what exactly is this, right? So this word is the game changer, right? Irrespective, you are uh, a programmer, you are a business analyst, you are a project manager, you are a vice president, you are a CEO, you are a salesperson, pre-sales, customer service. It can be anything. One thing that remains common and one thing that is very important is visualization. You take any field and you'll see that all these fields, the work is done by visualization that happens, right? And visualization not just with images, but there are different ways and techniques. And first of in order to do the visualizations, okay, so there are different ways of doing that. But most important than that, one question that we should always answer, or we should understand this, is why visualization. Okay, why is it important? Okay, why is it important to work on visualization? That's fine. I mean, is it so important? Okay, well, yes, it is. Now, data visualization is using, it is basically a technique to use pictures to represent data. Okay, that's one, right? It is a technique to use graphic elements such as pictures and or colors to represent data. It helps in data driven or fact based decision making, and decision makers can access the details they need quickly, right? So, time is a very important factor here. Okay, quick decision making is very important, right? So it becomes nowadays it's in the world of big data and so much of intense social media and information is business. Data is moving so fast, data is getting recorded so fast, and so much of volume of data that understanding that on real time basis and taking decision is a challenge. So visualizations help us to do that, okay, to take the decisions quickly. Now, one aspect within this is picture superiority effect. Now what it is? Now, picture superiority effect is the phenomena when a person is able to recall visual content better than content presented only as text. Now, how many times you have just let's go back few years, right? And think about this, when we used to read some books or saw anything on television, or let's take example of books. So when you read a textbook or any book, if it is just text, it becomes very difficult to remember it for on a long run. But if there are some diagrams, some pictures, some automation, so some visualization, something, and some photographs, it becomes very easy, and that particular picture gets recorded or get printed in our memory for a longer time. That's what a visual memory is. And visual memories are the strongest memory a human being can have. That is why whatever we see, we never forget. We forget, but it's very difficult to forget that, and it takes a long time compared to other senses. Like you can, like things you hear, things you touch, things you feel, taste, smell. Memories that are not that powerful as of visual memories, right? So picture superiority effect is utilizing that phenomena, right, to get to utilize that phenomena to make a person understand what information you're trying to give in a precise and concise manner. Okay, now let's look at this diagram. Right now, this gives state-wise records from 1990 to 2015 of accidents and number of fatalities happened. Okay, now in this just one diagram, I can see bifurcation as per gender. I can see map wise, okay, fatalities and distracted driving faculties. I can compare basically. See, I can say age distribution by age. I can say alcohol involvement. Okay. Now these are different type. In this particular image, there are different type of visualizations used. We have maps, we have column, we have tree map, we have bar charts, we have tabular form. There are different types of techniques, right? But the goal is, the idea is that just by looking at this one screen, that's it, just by looking at this one screen we can interpret so much of information, right? So that's the main idea, right? So what we have to do is, in order to generate this, there might be millions of records, right? Or thousands of, if not millions but thousands of records. Just imagine this table. Okay, this table, just imagine this table. If you have this format of table, like, and thousands of rows in it, how difficult or how easy it would be to interpret a overview of the data, like you, how you're getting in this part, in the top part of, in this part, right? So this becomes very much easier, right? So that's the idea of data visualization. What are the types of visualizations? Text or number, right? Like text and number, can they be visualization? Yes, absolutely, they are giving out some information. Anything that gives out an information is a visualization type, right? So it gives a high level of information, and it is majorly used as KPIs. Now KPIs are key performance indicator. What are key performance indicators? So most of the times when you're working on something, maybe you're improving something, or maybe you're initiating, you're coming up with a new system in itself, or you are working on any project, anything, it can be anything. In order to measure whether whatever work you have done or whatever operations is happening is precise or not, is working accurately or not, rather is it reliable or not, or it's valid, to validate and to make sure it is reliable, one indicator that is very important is you come up with key performance indicator. So you understand, you basically define some parameters. Like if you have built a new air conditioner, okay, air conditioner, and so what is your goal? Now you have built it, you have installed it in a particular room. Now what's the goal? The goal is to reduce the temperature of the room as required, right? So how do you do that? Maybe you will switch, install the AC is already installed, so you'll turn it on, you look at the temperature at time 0, and you might record what's the temperature in the room every hour, or you can change the temperature and see how much impact it is doing, or rather, if it is at a particular temperature and you have set it to some other temperature, how much time does it take to go there, right? So these are different parameters. So what you're doing is you're recording the time and you're recording the temperature, right? Those becomes the key performance indicators. So looking at that, as understanding and studying that, we can conclude, oh, if this is working good or not. If your NDA conditioner is not able to provide the service, maybe that is not the accurate design, or you might want to make some modifications into it. So that's how the decision making is done, right? So basically key performance indicators are very important. Second is tables. Now tables is whatever information you have, the moment you arrange it in a nice tabular form, okay, it can convey a lot of information. Like over here it is giving us an idea that, okay, this is the data of males and females on across 2017 and 2018, and it is giving us some numbers. It can be anything, okay, these numbers can be anything, but at least we know that, the data is talking about gender and year, right? Some of the important charts, right? Now this is heat map is one of the common and very much used visualization, okay, you in business intelligence or in analytics techniques, okay. So in this we use colors to visually emphasize information. So basically, if you see on the right hand side, this is a scale, okay, where you can see darker the color, less is the quantity or the unit, and lighter the shade, more is the quantity or the unit. So if you see, we have months along y-axis and year along x-axis. So basically it is giving us year versus month of data. This again, these numbers can be anything, but looking at the shades, we know that, okay, it was more in the beginning and gradually it started to decrease, and in the month of June to August it was the list, or rather July to August, these two, it was the highest, right? So it started increasing, okay, towards these months not that much. But if you see, let me change the color. If you focus on this area, visually you can conclude, okay, something is happening here, right? So the changes that are happening in July or September in this month is quicker, and towards the start and end of a year it takes a lot of time. See how much of information we were able to do that. Now these numbers can be anything related to domain, you can take your decisions, but this basically, this is the idea how you use color to interpret information. Okay. Second is scatter plot. Now we have seen this, right? During linear regression, scatter plot gives us a relationship between the two variables, okay, and how they are related. Now this is one of the best of our continuous variable information. It is majorly used to discover inferences. Potential relationship between variables can be identified. Right? We all know that. Line graph, very important. If you are planning to be into financial sector, especially, the line graph is used a lot to understand or to study trends happening, performances over a time. So if you have an analysis or anything to be done which involves time, year, month, days, any of this format, use line graph. Okay, that is the most recommended one, unless you have to use any other. Okay, it helps us to spot the trends and also to forecast how it's going to look like, and it helps in that's the key. Okay. Bar graph, it's the most effective and the most common type of graph. Vertical and horizontal stacked are major types of bar graphs. Comparison between subcategories can be done using bar graphs, so you can compare various categories in one visualization itself, and it is more, it's either vertical, either it is horizontal, or it is stacked. So it's like one top on the other. You'll see number of variables, so something of like this we will see in the later part. We are going to see how the different ways. So this is, so it's one on top of the other, it is stacked on one top of the other. Okay. Then maps. So maps is again very interesting. So you actually work on longitude and latitudinal data for geographical data, and you can actually work on this. Now think about this: if you are a retailer or if you are a service provider, by look and you provide your service worldwide, some having some visualization something like this, you can easily interpret what geographical region has the highest market that you hold and which has the lowest, and what is the potential, which can be your next target, right? Possibilities are endless, right? So that's how it is map can be used. Pie charts, this is the interesting one. So there are a lot of controversies, and not controversies but a lot of what you can say issues or concerns when we use pie charts. And like it is very difficult or in decision making. Like for example, in this just to focus on this, if let's say you don't have these numbers, all you have, remember, we are using visualizations to take the insights easily and quickly. Now just imagine if you, so basically by using colors and the size, we our size of a pie chart, we have to define which holds the high more or which is less, right? Now imagine if we don't have these numbers, how difficult it is to identify difference between green and orange, or rather pink and orange, right? Now they are almost looks the same, but they are different. This is higher and this is lower, right? So it is very misleading, unless you have to compare like 3 to 4 max, 3 to 4 categories. Then and only you can go for you go for, not can, there is no standard rule as such, but it is always recommended to go for pie charts if you have maximum of 3 to 4 categories that you want to compare with, like gender, you have age demographic, or you have yes or no type of information, right? So that's how you can compare. Cognitive load, a very important topic. What is cognitive load? Now, the cognitive load is the amount of mental effort required to interpret information. Right? A major goal in data visualization is to minimize this cognitive load, yet accurately communicate the message. So, whenever we see an image or we see anything, we analyze it. What does the shape look like? What is the color? What type of structure is that? What it is telling us, or what does it represent? We think about so many things, right? So like let's say you look let's say you see a bag, a luggage bag which you usually take for uh, abroad flights and travel. Okay, the moment you look at a bag, you see, okay, look at the height. Looking just by looking at the height and the weight, you can interpret what the capacity would be, whether it will hold 7 kilos kgs or it will hold 23 kgs. Okay, looking at the wheels, if there are two wheels, okay, I'll have to tilt the bag, or I if there are four wheels, oh, I can easily drag it, right? This is just a random example, but just by looking at one thing, we actually interpret a lot of things in our mind. That is the cognitive load. And looking at similarly, looking at any visualization or a chart, we look at so many charts and we start interpreting information. Okay, what is this telling us? What are these categories? Okay, what is the comparison and things like that. So giving less stress on our minds, giving less mental stress, and but generating more information. That's what cognitive load is. Okay, there are three types of cognitive loads: intrinsic, extraneous, and German. Okay, let's look at one by one. Intrinsic. Now, the amount of memory we need to understand the data. Okay, different tasks require different amount of thoughts and attention, right? Every information to interpret, you need a different amount of memory and different type of concentration or a focus that is required, right? Now, that's what intrinsic is. Extraneous is cognitive load refers to how information is presented. Poor design requires more efforts to identify problems and create a mental image, right? Now, if your visualization or representation is not that attractive or appealing, it might become very difficult and challenging for the interpreter to understand what are you trying to say, what is the goal, what is the idea behind this, right? And German is cognitive load pertains to how we mentally organize into patterns and contextualize information for a later reference. So once you see it, you understand it, then you put it in your memory, right? In your human mind has their brain, they have their memory, so you store it. Now there are different ways you store some things, right? If you are looking at a number, maybe you might make a small hint like thing, or you can relate it to something else which will help you to remember the number easier, right? Maybe some names, you make some mashups and you might join it with something, and then that becomes easy for you to remember a name. Similarly, looking at a visualization, how you basically interpret or how you basically regain the knowledge and the understanding that you have got later, for a later reference. That's what is called a German. Now, looking at this cognitive load and different visualization techniques, what in through this course we are going to get introduced to one platform, that is Tableau. Now, Tableau is one of the leading visualization tools available in the market, which has a reach all across the world. Okay, and Tableau has immense and so much of information and capabilities that it can use. And it takes a long time to explore the whole tool in itself. So what we are going to do is we are going to explore this particular, or get introduced to this particular tool in the next session. Okay, I believe you all are excited to learn this particular tool, and it requires a lot of practice. We'll be doing some exercise, but I would want you to understand, I would want you to practice a lot and look into it. There are various certifications available. It's not a bad idea to go for the certifications. Always they are a plus point when you look for a job, and you are there in the market. But yeah, having said that, without any further ado, let's get started with Tableau. See you in the next video.